My name's Scruffy, and I hope you enjoy this segment of the podcast.
ARK Survival Ascended. I was gifted this game, so before I get yelled at about
you're still gonna get yelled at
buying it, I was gifted the game.
I mean, to be fair, if you enjoyed the base game, I wouldn't have yelled at you for getting Ascended because.
So to be honest, I own all of the other versions and never really played them. So like I can't firmly say that like, I fell in love with them. A lot of the like I had jank issues that were beyond like more than what I'm having with this game. Like I just things that I did not enjoy. Like it was just I don't know with the original version. Not saying that there's not jank here. This is far from being a perfect game. And far from being like a I would say worth
early access.
Worth $40.
Well,
it's an early access,
but I don't think that that's fair to say because this is also like it's early access, yes, in the sense of this version, but like let's break down what ARK Ascended is, Survival Ascended for people who don't understand because we have talked about it on the show before in the past in some of our past episodes. Recommend going and watching those and listening to some of them. But if you're new to it and don't understand, this is a $40 purchase of basically a game that came out umpteen amount of years ago, right? I don't know the exact. I don't know when original ARK. If one of you guys wants to fact check that,
it was
like
2013, 2014, somewhere around there.
So it's an older game.
Maybe later than that actually. 2017. I'm sorry.
There ain't no way it's 10 years. So, it's an older game. It's a 7-year, 8-year-old game. This is the UE5 version of it, right? So it is a prettier version. They have given you more some quality of life elements that are better. With being able to like put you I've heard like putting your like torch like on your belt, some of like the tracking things, stuff like that do make it, more functional. You will get all of the other ARK expansions with this. So this is the base version ARK. You will also get all of the expansions that they came out with for the old versions for $40, and then they're going to be launching 2 new expansions. Those 2 expansions you will have to pay for, and then they'll launch ARK 2. So that's what you get with Survival Ascended. Now this game has its fair share of still jank. Enigma and I sat here and tried to figure out for probably 5 minutes why this trike that I had just tamed. Because again, I've never played these games. So I don't know what I'm doing, and Enigma has got a lot of hours in it. As to why I wasn't picking up berries. It was supposed to pick up berries and whatever else, wasn't doing it. Wasn't showing it, wasn't doing it. Hopped off, went back in, went into a radial menu, hopped off again, and then all of a sudden, like 15 minutes later, 1,000 berries pop into my inventory out of nowhere. Like shit's just working. I also get stuck in one of my tames and I can't get out of it. Like there is definitely jank. Enigma, I want to give you time to talk about it because you have played ARK and you have, obviously you're not playing this, but you watched me play. Like you made a comment saying that like there are definitely some UI and like quality of life improvements that you see. Like
I mean there's definitely certain things that I'm like, okay, I can see that's kind of a cool like little quality of life improvement, but like nothing that I've seen so far couldn't have been done in ARK.
Right.
Survival Evolved. Like there's nothing that I've seen so far. Like the entire fucking upgrade to Unreal Engine 5 could have just been a fucking an update to ARK Survival Evolved. And they were too greedy. They wanted money for learning to develop on ARK or on Unreal Engine 5 essentially. And that's what it boils down to, is they were too lazy, or they were too greedy to put the work into ARK Survival Evolved and update it to Unreal Engine 5 in my opinion, at least, right?
I mean, do you think that it's
I don't know how much an upgrade like an engine swap like that would have, because I don't know what the differences are on a building perspective from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5.
I'm not sure either, but either way you look at it, like I don't think that it's worth $40 to essentially have the exact same game with a update on an engine.
I get what you're saying, but I'm also the dumb motherfucker that bought Demon Souls for
Well,
the PS5, and it's
that's
the
your
exact same.
own problem, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And
Well,
it
so
was
it,
it was
when
60
I'm
bucks. So
when I'm looking at this, so when I'm looking at everything that you're playing, and granted, you're not anywhere near like end game, so we can't speak on end game, right? This is like bare bones early game. You've just barely gotten to like the middle age, essentially, right? And you've just barely gotten your first tame. But from everything that I've seen so far, I nothing has really impressed me to the point where I'm like, I definitely need to play this game. Right.
So
That's my opinion. And when it comes down to like, oh well, it looks prettier. In my opinion, it really doesn't. Like in my opinion, the update on the graphics, like some of the graphics do look nicer. And it could have just been that I had a fucking migraine last night, and so I couldn't appreciate like the sun shafts and everything like that. But like to me, things look really like fake. Everything looks like it's made out of plastic to me. Like all the vegetation looks like it's plastic. All the wood looks like it's plastic. The stone looks like it's plastic. I don't know if that's something to do with like they haven't put shaders on it, or they haven't put proper textures on it yet, and it's still in development, you know. But like in comparison to the two, in my opinion, I personally feel ARK Survival Evolved looks better than ARK Survival Ascended. But that's
yeah,
that again.
so
That just might be because I don't personally like the way that they like cell shading of some sort. Like I'm not a big fan of the way that it looks like in this game personally. But
like I have seen many people play ARK Survival Evolved, and coming to this, like I would say I would rather play this version because I do think that this version, like when I booted it up and launched it, and again, going back to what I've seen from the old ARK, I do look at it and go, this game looks fucking. I think it looks great. Like I think it's gorgeous. Like I'm not. I don't. Again, is it like fucking god tier whatever? No. But when I look at it, I go, well, it's pretty, man. Like I think the world like does look pretty. Like what I'm watching here, a building. Like I think it looks really good. I think like the sun shafts are good. There are issues. I'm not going to sit here and say like there's not performance issues. Like keep in mind,
that was one thing that I wanted to bring up as well. Like from everything that I've heard, and I know that you were just about to say something about it with your rig specifically should be able to handle this thing without a fucking problem, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I should be able to go at max, and I can't.
And
I can't.
And granted, that's ARK. That's just ARK in general. Like I've never been really impressed with Wildcard's like optimization of any of their games, because ARK Survival Evolved, even to this day, doesn't run very well. Like it's extremely jittery. It's extremely fucking laggy in some instances. It's just not. I don't know if it's again. I don't know if it's just laziness on the developer's part, or if it's just like an inability to work with the engine to a point that gets it to the point that it can run smoothly. But it definitely, you need a pretty beefy PC to run just ARK Survival Evolved in general. So I would assume that you need a even more beefy PC to run ARK Survival Ascended.
Yeah,
right?
No, you do. Like it is not gonna, like, people are like, can I run this on a Steam Deck? Absolutely fucking not. Like there is no shot.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that the Steam Deck can run ARK Survival Evolved in general. Like that is impressive to me to begin with. So
but I will say, like, as someone to go back to like kind of warranting the $40 purchase, so a lot of it comes down to, is this a situation where, because ARK Survival Evolved has been out for so long, that really going to UE5, it's impossible, because it just, I think maybe that's what also Bill is talking about too, is like, I don't know if you can just dump UE5 on top of all of what's already kind of been built, because it would break. Right. And we don't know, because we're not coders. I have no clue. And maybe that's the reason for them saying like, hey, we have to go to this, right? To do it. Yes. Are we paying for them to understand UE5? Absolutely.
That's what I was about to say. That's all fine and dandy. I completely agree with you on that part, where it's like, yeah, maybe UE4 to UE5, and I have heard that UE4 and like upgrading any Unreal Engine to another engine is a lesson in futility, right? It does not work out to the best, for most of the Unreal Engine upgrades out there, right? But like I still don't feel like I should have to be paying an additional price so that you can
Well, no,
practice
they
how
absolutely
to
could
develop.
have. Yeah, they could have gone down the route of saying, "Hey, you know what? $10. We're going to charge
Yeah,
$10, and you're
that's the
going to
other
get,
thing is
you know,
like it to basically put it toward to basically put the price tag on it for the same price tag, if not a little bit higher than what ARK originally came out as, right? That feels really bad to me, right? And on top of that, to be and we're gonna I'm gonna kind of push forward into this a little bit with the server situations, right? So when we've talked about this before, when they first announced that they were moving from ARK Survival Evolved to ARK Survival Ascended, they announced that they would be shutting down official servers on ARK Survival Evolved and moving official servers to ARK Survival Ascended, right? And a lot of people were pissed off about that, which surprised me kind of because like what's it called? Official servers, there's a good population, a good subsect of the population that does play on official servers, but like predominantly the players of ARK play on private servers, right? They play on like modded private servers for the most part. That is your player base for ARK. It's either vanilla private servers being played with friends that are being hosted on PCs, or it's modded private servers being hosted by a multitude of server providers, correct? Now, one thing that came out recently and like just barely like within the last couple days, I didn't even know about this until it happened, was like, so ARK, when in Wildcard's Infinite Wisdom, when they moved over to ARK Survival Ascended, they made a deal with Nitrado, which I don't know if you guys know about Nitrado, and I'm probably butchering that name, but that's a survival game or just in general a multiplayer server host. Correct.
They do like Minecraft servers and stuff.
They do Minecraft. They do 7 Days to Die. They do ARK. They do a lot of like survival games in general. The Wildcard in their Infinite Wisdom partnered with Nitrado, which already has a really bad reputation for being kind of a shit server provider to begin with. Like everybody knows, Nitrado is not that great. They partnered with Nitrado and gave them an exclusivity deal so that Nitrado is the only server host. I believe they're hosting their official servers, and B, they're the only server host that you can go to, as far as I know. I don't think they've updated this yet, for a private server in ARK Survival Ascended, which is insane, right? Because like ARK Survival Evolved has countless server providers that you can go to that provide you with different variables of like online servers for different prices, right? And Nitrado is actually usually one of the higher priced servers out there. So it kind of slaps that private server essentially the player base that has been keeping ARK Survival Evolved going for so many years, for 7 or 8 years, I think is what we had talked about it, right? Before 2017 to now, right? The private servers have been what's really been keeping ARK going for that entire time. It hasn't been the official servers. I can tell you that for a goddamn fact, right? It's been the private servers and the mod hostings that have kept this game going. And they're basically slapping those people in the face right now and telling them, well, you can still have a private server, but you're going to have to go through our official, server host. On top of that, Nitrado has issues with mods apparently, and they've had issues with the new backend for the server providing server files and everything like that they actually had to go back and like retroactively like roll back their servers because of how shitty Nitrado's been with their server hostings. So it's been a rough start for ARK Survival Ascended.
Yeah. Well, I know that. I mean, I can say I've gone and seen unofficial servers, and there are a shit ton of them, so they're definitely making money.
Yeah,
like
they're making money 100%. But again, that's because that's what's kept this game going, is the private servers. It's not the official servers; it's the private server hosting that's kept this game going. And they basically just cut they basically told people, well, if you don't want a private server, you go through what we want you to,
Yeah.
you go through the server host.
I
that we
can
want.
tell you some of the server stuff that I had to go through has been very frustrating. In fact, on this stream alone, the server, like, you go to search for a server, and normally you'd be like, cool, I want NA only. There's no filter options. Like, I can't filter NA only. I can filter a few things,
You can't do that on Evolved.
I will go search for like lowest ping, but it's a lie because I'll do that and then it's not the lowest ping, because then if I go and search for days on, that gives me the lowest ping. It's fucking weird. And then like I had where my server like restarted randomly and booted everybody out, and then we come back in, which is fine. Server resets happen constantly. You know, that's a normal thing. But
well, you were playing on an official server, not a private server.
I'm on an official server. So then my server just doesn't show up anymore. And also I favorited it, but it's not in my favorites. So like I had to go back into my VOD, my live VOD that I was watching, to go figure out what was the server name that I was on so that I could search that name, and then my server popped up. And so it's, you know, that kind of stuff is like, dude, come on, like what is going on? Like that shit to me is where I'm like, if you're gonna charge early access, like I don't believe that kind of stuff is early access. Like that shit should work. This is not, again, you know, early access. You know how to run servers. Like get the fuck out of here. Like, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't know, man. That's all I can say really at this point. Is just like I don't know. I don't understand. Like I get that what people are saying, that it's like if you enjoyed ARK, you'll enjoy ARK Survival Ascended. But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, yeah, because it's the same fucking game. You're literally there's nothing. You're paying $40 for the same fucking game that looks prettier. That's why you're having a good time with it.
For some people, that's enough, though.
I mean, I'm not saying that that's not enough for some people. I just don't understand. Like for me, that's not enough. That's my only thing, right?
And that's fair too.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think
it's just weird, man.
If it's your first, like, because people have come in and said, "Hey, is this
100%?"
If you've
like,
never
if
played,
like for you specifically, Sin, because you've never played ARK Survival Evolved, and you don't have any hours in ARK Survival Evolved, I can 100% see this. Like, yeah, go to the newer version, right? Like, go to the newer version, go and get the prettier version, quote unquote prettier. And again, in my opinion, I don't think it looks as good, but that's probably just me and the nostalgia of ARK Survival Evolved. But if you are brand new to this, then yeah, 100%, $40 for all of the baseline, like the base game plus all of the baseline DLCs, right? And do you have any idea of what the DLCs, like which DLCs you actually get?
you get all of them. You get all of them through. It's like Scorch.
Again, I need to know. Yeah, I need to know exactly which one, because like they might not actually be giving you all of them. I'm curious if they actually do give you.
The last I heard, I thought you were supposed to get all of them. It's like
okay,
8,
I've got them right here. So, in addition to the island, we plan to have the following content available: remade in Unreal Engine 5, Survival of the Fittest, which is their stupid fucking battle royale, which nobody fucking plays. Scorched Earth, Aberration, Extinction, Genesis Part 1 and Part. Okay, so yes, it's all of the DLCs. They also plan to have previously released free DLCs: The Center, Ragnarok, Vallegro, Crystal Island, Lost Island, and Fjord. Each of those respective maps will receive one completely new creature nominated by the community. Okay, so if you've never played the game and you don't have ARK Survival Evolved and you don't have all of those DLCs and everything like that, this might be a good purchase. 100%. $40 for base game, 5 DLCs and 5 maps is huge, considering I think going and buying all of that for ARK Survival Evolved. Let me just.
This also has cross-platform, which I guess wasn't available before.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that it was in the works, but they ran into like a snafu on it.
And then there's also
I can't see how much the other DLCs were, but I would wager that probably to buy to buy the base game plus all of the DLCs, you'd probably be looking at like $100, $115, $120.
There's also they added the Dreadnoughtus, which is a new, I guess, one new dinosaur. I have seen that one. I have witnessed it. So I don't know. I mean, I get why people are upset. I do understand it, but I I'm having fun with it. I am again. There are things
that's
that
completely fine. Yeah.
there are things that piss me off where I'm like watching this back and I'm like, oh, I'm seeing screen tearing because they don't have a VSync option. Like
Yeah.
there's just stuff that I'm just like, should be in there. That's just not like, you know, that
Yeah,
that
no,
kind
man.
of that kind of shit's annoying.
I get it. And if you are the type of person that's like, I need the new shiny, then I'm sure this is probably the best option for you. But like, to me, I'm of the mind, and I've been of the mind for even for those remakes, like the fucking remake that you were just talking about, Bill. Like, I don't
Yeah.
really feel like you should have to pay full price for those remakes. Like that seems asinine and
I mean,
backwards
I
to
did
me
it for
personally.
I
But
did it for Dead Space. Like you know, there's not a, you know, because again, I think
yeah,
you like people
I'm not
like
gonna
new
shame
and shiny.
people for putting money into what they like. If that's how they want to spend their money, that's
do you?
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
you
biggest
know,
my biggest complaint is just that you're legitimately paying $40 for a less superior version that looks prettier. Like that's I don't think that they should have personally charged for that, but it's wild card, and I am not surprised one little bit.
Yo, did you enjoy this episode of the Patch Notes? You did? Great. Then you should hang out with us live every Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. But in case you missed us, you can always listen over at anchor.fm/prepatch podcast or any podcast platform at your convenience. This was Scruffy, signing off.